Hello, welcome to this edition of Ask Barry V. I'm Barry Vanover. This is Miles Baker. We're here to answer your questions about your martial arts studio and your business. Today's episode is brought to you by Studio Pro. Studio Pro is a martial arts management and billing software. Totally helps run your martial arts school. All of our premier martial arts studios use Studio Pro as their management and billing software. The software was designed by martial artists for martial arts schools, not a health club software that has been changed some bells and whistles so that it works for martial arts schools. So I know when we use it and when we're dealing with our 6 locations currently that are corporately owned, that's how we keep up with our staff. That's how we keep up with their statistics, their numbers, and it does the billing as well. So, a lot of school owners will say, I hear them like, well, I need a billing company because I don't want to make those phone calls to collect money. Well, you know what? Guess what? You have to make them anyway. Yeah. Because we've used a couple different billing companies in the past, and frankly, everybody that ever didn't pay us or wanted out of their membership, we had to deal with anyway. Of course. So why not keep that money, right? Yeah. And even keep our late fees. I never could understand why a billing company, it's our money that is late. Mm-hmm. It's us that got our money late. Yeah. But the billing company kept the late fees.
Yeah, doesn't make much sense.
Never understood that. So anyway, if you guys are interested in taking control of your own billing, your own money, having a martial arts software that is going to totally be able to run your business. I mean, everything. I could go on and on of all the bells and whistles and the details. It prints your certificates. It keeps your attendance. But the reporting and the tracking of your statistics and your goal setting and financial planning, to me, that's the strong parts. Yeah. All right, let's go ahead. I think I've read through some of the questions this morning you were going to ask. Yeah, and I think we got some good questions today.
We have a good lineup this week. The first one, Cindy K asked, what is your best tip to make your children's classes more exciting?
That's a great question, and actually I could go on and on all day. As a matter of fact, I could go on for 3 days because we have a instructor college that Martial Arts Management Group hosts a couple times a year where instructors come in from all over the country, and we take them through a 3-day instructor college. So we concentrate for 3 full days, nothing but the classroom floor. Now, those instructor colleges doesn't have anything to do with curriculum, the style you teach. It's all about the classroom floor, how to make it fun, how to make it exciting. But if what's her name? If Cindy is asking me some quick tips, maybe, besides sending your staff to a professional instructor college, I would say quick tips on making it exciting. Your classroom floor would be probably class formations. Class formations means how we group and line up the students in different scenarios in different parts of class. So instead of always lining the students up in straight lines, facing forward, the instructor is always standing in a certain spot teaching. That can get a little boring, a little monotonous. Use different class formations, put the students in a big circle and the instructor in the middle. We call that teaching from the round. Have one instructor on one side of the class and the other instructor on the other side of the class. And whether it's physical warm-ups and exercises or whether it's martial arts technique, bounce the students back and make them turn facing that instructor, then turn facing this instructor. Next technique, turn facing that instructor. We call that ponging after the old Atari game, Pong, and just bouncing it back and forth.
That one.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And they're like, and you can even Pong the class yourself. And all you do is that if you're the instructor on the floor, just move around the classroom floor and go to this corner or this corner. And after the repetition portion of whatever you're teaching is over, just have the students say, and everybody turn face me. And they're kind of looking for you, and then they turn, find you, and they go feet together, set, sir. And then you teach from that direction. And that's an easy way to pong the class, even if it's by yourself. Class formations, like making sure that you understand how to properly run drill lines where the kids are moving through the line. They're making an action at the end of the line and moving back. All of those types of way that you structure the class, I think is a quick, easy way of making the classes exciting. And I would say another thing that real fast makes a big impact on the excitement of a class is probably what we call highlighting or spotlighting. And that's after you're right at the end of teaching something and the students are doing the repetition portion of the cycle of instruction, and you're watching them and making sure that they're doing it. Let's say you just reviewed a side kick or whatever, and all the students are doing repetitious side kicks for a few minutes. Yes, you're doing lots of compliments, lots of corrections, but, pick a couple kids and stop the entire class and either bring that child up to have them demo that kick or that kickboxing combo or that self-defense, or have everybody turn face that student and drop a knee, and you go over there and work with that kid and put the spotlight on that one kid. Do that 2 or 3 times throughout the class as you're teaching different parts of your curriculum. Watch the parents start grinning and laughing and having a good time and feeling special because you're highlighting the students. Those are a couple simple things to make your classes exciting. Now, I can't go into it today in this show, but if you're not running what we call drill for skills in your class, followed by the themes of the 6 qualities of a champion. If you don't have an organized mat chat program, ours is called Black Belt Excellence. You're missing out on a key element of excitement, education, and personal development in your classroom. So I would look for those things too in the future.
Which all those things equals retention, right? How many times do we have people call us and ask us questions about retention? It's all about the classroom floor.
Retention and upgrading.
Yeah.
If your retention's good, your students are happy.
Yep.
If your students are happy, they want to get their black belt and they want to change their experience on their journey to black belt. They want more. They want to wear a different uniform. They want to train with different weapons. They want to be seen in a group or a level outside the rest of the students. Yeah. So it helps your upgrading, and of course it helps your bottom line for sure.
Yeah, upgrading is so important. I talked to a guy yesterday from North Carolina, and he's got a really good thing going. He's making good money. He's got a good student count. But he hasn't implemented the upgrade systems fully, and he's just on that cusp.
Right.
Once he does that, he's definitely gonna take it to another level.
We still talk to school owners all the time that don't have upgrade systems in place at all. Yeah. And it's just kind of amazing. But and speaking of the bottom line, who was it? Just yesterday, one of our clients texted me, Aaron Hensley. Got what we call premier training, so basic black belt training, premier training. Got a premier training paid in full. It was $8,000 paid in full. And get one of those a month, right. Man. Talk about, people say, what's the fastest way? When a school owner calls us and they're focusing on, they'll say, look, I've got to make more money. It's either I've got to make more money or I need to sign up more students, which is the same thing, kind of. Right. We look at their marketing and their introductory procedures. And we look at their upgrading, because if we can fix those 2 things, we can double the school's income fast. I don't even know what the question was.
I was thinking about upgrades and retention, but anyways, I think that's all great information. So our next question for this week is from Greg. Greg asked, Mr. Vanover, I've been following your Mass Intro systems. They are amazing, by the way. Thank you, Greg. But how important is it that you give away a free uniform?
Well, first, again, thanks you, Greg. The Mass Intro Systems is when I first started getting into martial arts consulting. That was the first thing that I had major success at, and I've taught it to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of school owners all across the world, actually. And I feel like that's my one big contribution to the martial arts industry. The uniform.
Yeah.
I actually had this situation last week. I'm talking to a program director, and they're asking, they're wanting me to help them on why they didn't sign up so many people. Once the kids showed up, they had a good group of kids that actually showed up for the Mass Intro through their marketing efforts, but their sign-up procedures weren't very good. And when I started analyzing and asking the program director questions, they really weren't doing our systems. A lot of things were being left out. And one of them were the uniform. And I'm like, dude, why aren't you putting all these students in a martial arts uniform? Well, the owner doesn't want to pay for the uniforms. And I'm like, oh, man, that's just insane. Look, when those students are inside your class for the Mass Intro, your number one goal is to turn those students into a martial artist right in front of their parents' eyes. You can't do that with the student in his street clothes with mustard stains on it or spilt milk from breakfast or whatever, wearing whatever. You just can't do it that way. So, you've got 20 kids there. Yeah, you just gave away 20 uniforms or 30 uniforms. The largest number of people I ever signed up was at Scott McNeely's school. I was in Plano, Texas. We signed up 66 kids on a Saturday morning. We had 90 show up, but Mr. McNeely put every kid in a free 90 uniforms. Yeah. Right? But how many ever uniforms it is, right? It's uniforms, average uniform from sizes 0 or 00 to 2 is about $10, right? So just rounding it off and saying that you get 30 kids to show up at your school and you had to spend $300 on martial arts uniforms. how would you possibly spend $300 any more effectively to get 30 people to show up at your school that are wanting to listen what you have to say and sign up at least 50% of them? How can you sign up 15 people on only $300? It's impossible, right? If I could spend $300 and sign up 15 people, right? And some magic system of I put down $300 and I give it to somebody and I get 15. I'd sit here all day. $300, 15 students, $300. So you can't do that in print advertising, TV advertising, promote, nothing. There's no way. So, being cheap and not wanting to spend the money on the uniform is ridiculous. And I'm not saying owners, when they first start the Mass Intro systems, they gave away 20 uniforms and only had 2 kids signed up and they don't still see the value for a while. But your program directors, it'll get better. They'll get better at this. Your systems will get better. You'll start signing up 50, 60% of these people that come in. And even then, 2 students for $200 or $300?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I'd still do it. Right?
Yeah.
You know what? Another thing reminds me, even in your one-on-one 2-lesson trial program, now we charge $27, $28, $19.95. We mix up the price, but it's for the 2 private one-on-one lessons, and it includes a free uniform. That's the special. Sometimes, we'll do a free introductory course, whether we ran a special, whether it was on the, somebody, we got leads from a promotional booth and we're calling, telling them they want a free introductory course. Even then we give them a free uniform, right? Because again, it's no different in the 2-lesson program than a mass intro. You got to turn that kid into a martial artist right in front of mom and dad's eyes, and they need to be in a crisp white uniform, and they need to earn their white belt. They need to be punching and kicking in that uniform because it looks like they're martial artists. It's a better experience for the kids, better experience for the family. If that kid's happy and excited and wearing that uniform, that's one step closer to them signing up on your trial program. Okay?
Yeah, you work so hard to get them in the door. What's another $10 when you know the impact that it has?
Yeah, that's just insane when I hear owners do that.
It sounds like Greg understands the system fairly well, but you have to expect when you're following a system that has proven results, any sort of change, you're very likely to get a different result.
Exactly.
Right? So you really have to follow the plan step by step. Nice. All right. So our next question for this week is from Robert. Robert A. asks, what do you think the effects of mixed martial arts has had on commercial martial arts schools?
Oh, good question.
Yeah, that's good.
Good question. And when the UFC got so popular, right? Honestly, and we had the same conversations with my school owner friends across the country that I network with. We all were curious, like, what is the effect going to be? Is it going to be that all the martial arts schools, we got to switch to mixed martial arts, right? Because that's what everybody's going to want to do. Some people would say that, right? Some people would say, well, this is going to kill us, because mom and dad is going to see people barely dressed in a cage, beating each other bloody. And you can see that almost every night of the week on TV somewhere now. Yeah. And it's going to give the martial arts a bad reputation. It's going to kill us. Yeah. And the kids are going to go away from the martial arts school. Parents are going to perceive that as martial arts. Honestly, after 10 years, 12 years or whatever, it's really been really prevalent. I think the bottom line is it has been a positive thing for martial arts. It has legitimized martial arts as a sport that's just as popular as football, basketball, and baseball. It has legitimized martial arts as, you guys don't remember, but I know a lot of times back when I was a young guy, people would go, is martial arts, those karate guys, does that really work in a real fight? Does martial arts really work against a boxer? There's no doubt now that martial arts, is the fighting system, right? Yeah. And it doesn't even matter what style, because you've got guys representing Taekwondo and Shotokan and all kinds of martial arts inside the ring nowadays, right? So everybody appreciates it. And I think parents are smart enough to go, I don't want my kid to play NFL football.
Right,
but I don't mind him playing pee-wee or flag football or something.
Great example.
So it's like I don't want my kid to ever get in the cage and fight like that, and I'll make sure he doesn't. Right. But I want him to learn some of this stuff
to defend himself. Right,
and I think it's just been so positive. And I know for styles like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you didn't see. I was just in 5-star martial arts in Los Angeles, and I see all these kids doing jiu-jitsu, or Fabio Leopoldo's school in Ventura, California, packed full of kids, man, just like a martial karate school used to be. Sure. So for those guys, it's absolutely helped them for sure.
Yeah, I think so. When you see Anthony Pettis on the cover of Wheaties when you're walking down the cereal aisle. It's a positive reputation.
When was that going to happen for us in martial arts, right?
Exactly. So I think it's been great as well. Our last question for this week is Matt R. asks, what are your thoughts on the best way to work with your local school systems? So I think he's trying to figure out how to get into the schools.
Man, there's a bunch of different ways that we go about getting into the public schools and working with the PE coaches, the principals, the teachers. But I would say your first and fastest and quickest step is to work through the PTA, because it's an easy person to get a hold of. Mm-hmm. They're not a teacher, and most moms, at least here, most moms that are presidents of the PTA or vice presidents are stay-home moms, so they're easy to get a hold of and network. And every PTA has a period during the year where they're allowed to do fundraisers, and we just want to be part of those fundraising opportunities and help them. And we've got some great fundraising ideas, okay? And as a matter of fact, you're the one that spearheaded a lot of these fundraising ideas. Why don't you share with them?
Yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, pretty much every elementary school has some sort of PTA or PTO, one of their sole functions is to raise funds. So we fit right in with that. And so one of the first ways we go about that is they usually do some kind of auction and carnivals and game nights and
fall festivals or spring festivals,
Halloween festivals, something to that effect, spring field days, and we want to be there. I mean, how much more targeted can you be? Ages 5 to 12 in our marketable
80%
area.
of our target market, right
there.
Right.
So getting in with
an
the
elementary school in your neighborhood, in your not only your target market, but in your demographic.
Yeah, to see 500, 1,000, 1,500 kids and families. What kind of it's really difficult to do that through print or any other thing, like you said earlier. So that's a big one. Then we've got we do parents' night outs, right? We do the parents' night outs where the money goes back to the PTA. We may do those at the elementary school, or if our facility's large enough, we may do that.
So parents' night out event, we do them at our school every month. Charge $20 a kid, 6 to 11. Give mom and dad a chance to go out and have dinner and see a movie. Play all kinds of games with them. Do martial arts training and so forth. What Mr. Baker is saying is, we do that just for that elementary school's kids. PTA promotes it. They get the flyer approval. The PTA president is either at your school, if you're hosting it at your school, or we'll host it at the elementary school's gymnasium, okay? Because you could get a lot of kids, 1,200 kids in an elementary school. You could get a bunch of kids show up. Your staff does it. Let the PTA charge whatever they want, 10 or 20 bucks, and they show up. They collect the money. You rock the party out. Yeah. But then you do your systems and your steps for gathering leads, for promoting the next mass intro.
Yeah, the last one I would just add, I mean, there's a handful of them. The last one would be we do an event at our school. It could be our Bully Proof program, our Kid Safe program, our anti-drug program, our Karate for Concentration. Same thing. PTA promotes it. Funds goes back to them. So all of those are great to get in front of kids, but kind of what you were alluding to, you have to make sure that your promotional booth systems are in place. So when you do get to go to these festivals, you make the most of it.
And sometimes they charge for those festivals.
They do.
You're going to donate $250, 500. We have one elementary school that we donate $1,000 to set up a booth for the day at their fall festival, right?
Yeah. So, but money well spent. But again, the point is just to make sure that doing these things, then you have to have the follow through and the execution.
Right, it's not gonna do you any good if you can't. Don't have anybody get on the telephone and don't know how to set an appointment.
Right,
go in there and spend the money to gather the leads.
Already, well, great. Miles, I get in front of 1,200 kids at a parents' night out, but how do I turn that into students? That's the key. Of course, you got to figure out how to do that.
Yeah. Now another one. So you said of course showing up and setting up a promotional booth and donating money to be at their fall festivals or whatever events like that. The Parents Night Out fundraiser is a great one. Another one that I would look toward is the enrichment, doing an enrichment program because it's big money. Yeah. Enrichment program is where the PTA or the school sends out flyers and we're going to do a martial arts beginners karate course. The kids stay after school for 45 minutes once a week. And, we charge usually $49 for 6 or 8 weeks. We give them a free T-shirt, require the kids to wear the T-shirt on the karate day. So you've got 30, 40 T-shirts walking around, you're the elementary school that day. And that $49 we donate either to the PTA or we'll donate it right back to the elementary school if we're not going through the PTA. 30 kids, that's $1,500 that you donated to the school or to the PTA. $1,500 for a fundraiser donation to the PTA is big money for them.
Yeah, gets attention.
Absolutely.
You're remembered next year.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely. So those are some quick, easy ways. Go through the PTA. Either use their fundraiser ideas or ask them what they're doing for fundraisers. Maybe they just want you to donate some martial arts birthday parties to their silent auction or whatever, right?
Yeah. All right, so that's it for our
Okay,
questions this week.
that's it. All right, guys. You know, in our marketing tip, since we're talking about the schools, don't forget that martialartsmarketing.com until October the 15th. You've got a few more days. Is given 25% off of any marketing products that have to do with Halloween. We just got flyer approval. We're sending out 15,000 flyers to our local Knoxville schools and the public school systems in a certain part of town. And it's going to have it has the Halloween safety tips on one side, and it has our spooky special, which is just a free 2-lesson trial program and free uniform on the other side. And that's going out to 15,000
That's a lot of kids.
5 to 12-year-olds, right? And you can, of course, order those at martialartsmarketing.com as well. All right, guys, that's our show for this week. Thank you so much. Keep your questions coming in, and we'll keep the answers coming back.